From the front lines, from the tailgates, representing KGYR and its stakeholders, we are the Forum for the Fans, the Bleed Blue Show. Now, here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
This is Bleed Blue Show, Forum for the Fans, Knickerbocker Avenue, and Forum. Talking NBA free agency. Chris, what's going on? How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, my beat was on, man. My beat was on. You interrupted it, Steve. Damn, you know I love this every Wednesday night beat, man. Same one the Giants got. Everything is
actually the same one all of them got.
Everything's pepper, man. We're gonna have a lot of good discussion tonight, man. I know we are, man. It's free agency time, bro. It's time where everybody is, bogging down. When I say everybody, I'm talking about owners, general managers, players, player reps, fans like us, and everyone. We're bogging down, man. We're ready for the big blow. So we got a lot to discuss. So let's just pop it in. Let's do it.
Yeah, we got the aftermath of the Knicks.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little bit about the cap space. Also the stuff with Tony Roten and why he got kicked off the team and disciplinary actions, whatever that crap is all about. And then I want to ask guys how we're going to fill in this roster, how you want to fill it in. I'm talking about type of players, not necessarily names, but the type of team you would like to construct. I mean, that's the type of same talk we've kind of heard from all kind of fans all over the world, like on social media or whatever. But this is the time. Let's discuss that now. That's that time of the year. We'll have that for you. And then, of course, any other moves that we can see fall flat on our faces. And also, the available free agent is going to be July 1st. So that thing is coming on in a couple of days. Not even that, because they're going to leak some that news out. But this is the Knickerbocker Ave fan forum, man. Why not bring on Knickerbocker Ave? So, Knickerbocker Ave.
Who's that?
What's going on? How you doing?
Who is that?
Gentlemen, good evening. Another beautiful night. Godfather. It's time for another beautiful night, another hot night in the crazy Northeast. The AC's on, the beer's cold, and it's time to discuss some great basketball talk and some delusional kind. So let's get this started, man.
There you go. Some delusional time. It's going to be interesting because not just the Knicks, but just the other teams in the league. I want to see. I like to get your thoughts on how you guys look at other teams in the league too. If we could get to that point as well. Yeah, so without further ado, let's bring on guys on here on the Fan Forum. The caller number, if you're listening in, to speak live, also 929-477-4171. Press the number 1 button if you want to be on the air for live. For any questions or comments, let's bring on one of the biggest Knicks fans. Probably on social media. Got to bring on Marlo. Marlo, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up,
sir?
my blue brethren? How's everybody?
You got it.
Can't complain. How are things a week later since the news came down the pipe? Hey, let me ask you, Marlo, how's things like a whole week later after the trade with Rose? What's your thoughts and just anything in Knicks Nation? And we'll bring on the other guys too as well.
Well, one good thing about Rose is that they took him to hospital special surgery, and I had my surgery done there too on my foot, and they said that Rose looks great. Structurally, his knees and everything looks really good, like he healed very well. So we just got to hope and pray that he could keep it up. And and of course, Melo's been practicing. I really didn't want Melo to go. But I'm glad he's going. He gets his grinding. But what's even better is that, Coach Hornacek actually came and watched Melo practice. And Melo was so impressed by that, So it's like Hornacek gets it, you know what I mean? So, he already feels like Hornacek is in his corner. And I was just very impressed with that. And but I'm just saying, it'll be great to get KD. I don't know if we will, but I still feel that we're going to put together a really good roster, and I'm still looking forward to Friday with or without KD. So, I'm just ready for the excitement. There's so much news coming out, and I'm just looking forward to it. Oh, and as a side note, guys, did you realize that the Knicks, with the trade with Rose, they kind of stole the Cavaliers' thunder with their parade?
A little bit.
A little bit. It kind of stole the thunder. So, Knicks always making noise. I love that.
But then they kind of got it back with Kyrie and JR taking off their shirts. I mean, that was a little bit of unnecessary news. People making a big deal out of it. I don't mind that at all. As far as guys wanted to celebrate, and Cleveland had like about 1 million plus people, whatever, at that parade. And then Kyrie got a little bit of flack with the Love Boat stuff, but that's probably another show for another day on discussing that. Let's see. Let's bring on in order that they call in. Repping the Chicago Bulls, Victor, Jersey Blue. What's up, my man? How's everything?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today, man?
Man, we are good. Now, how are you feeling as far as a week later with the trade from the Chicago Bulls into things?
Man, my whole team is a complete disarray, man. I don't think we got one kind of solid plan on the table, bro. I don't know what we want to do right now. We want to get rid of everybody and go younger, or we just want to try to rebuild this thing from the wreckage that's left behind, man. I don't know what we want to do, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, Vic, let me ask you something, man. How did? Because I need to hear from a Bulls fan, because I'm a Knicks fan, so I got another perspective. But what was the atmosphere like, man, when Tibbs was let go out there?
When Tibbs was I was excited when Tibbs was let go for the simple reason that Tibbs, he kind of overuses players. Like if you're a defensive minded player, he's gonna run you 39, 40, 42 minutes a game, easy. And that's how a lot of our players was breaking down, man. Like Joakim Noah finally broke down. Jimmy Butler finally broke down last year after years of Tibbs. And it's just, man, like players are not built like they was back in the 80s and 90s. Man, you can't play dudes 40, 45 minutes a game and think they're going to hold up a whole season. Mm-hmm. But on the contrast to that was, okay, we got an offensive-minded coach now with the mayor, but now we're not playing no defense. So I don't know how we have the same exact squad from 2 years ago.
Wow.
And then the next year we don't make the playoffs. That's insanity.
Yeah, it is.
I have a question for Vic, and then we'll go to the next stakeholder. So let me ask you, so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying if you're going to break it up completely. So would you agree with that logic that if you feel that way, why not trade Jimmy Butler, or do you still want to build around him? Like, you're going to break it up like that?
Jimmy Butler will be a great piece to build around, but is he going to be that, that end-all? Is he that Jordan, Kobe? Is he that type of two guard that's once in a generation? Absolutely not. If somebody's going to pay a king's ransom for him, and I think Tibbs will, because Tibbs wants him bad in Minnesota. That's evident. I mean, it was maybe a day or two after he became president of Minnesota. They was talk about the Bulls trade that he wanted Jimmy Butler, and that he didn't waste no time getting that out there to the media. So, but if he's going to pay a king's ransom for him, and when I say king's ransom, I mean Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, contract filler maybe Pekovic, and maybe another first-round draft pick, by all means, give him up, bro. Because they built Jimmy Butler into the player that he is now. When he came in, we drafted him 30th overall. He was virtually nobody. So,
if that's a lot of pieces for Minnesota,
that's a good for him, man. You got to take the deal. You have to.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a nice little return on investment, just like you said with the draft pick position that you guys selected him. I would go with that. Hell yeah. I definitely agree with that. If they put that on the table, I think Minnesota should bite. I mean, that'll probably maybe help them be somewhere in the Western Conference, maybe a playoff contender, maybe adding a Butler like that. And they have assets and young people.
They should make it to the semis with that roster. Where you put Jimmy Butler next to Andrew Wiggins. Oh man.
Right?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. And then don't forget about Anthony Towns in the middle too. So
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I definitely agree. Hold on,
and then you got the architect Tibbs is designing the defense. Man, they got a good shot, man.
And who did they pick up in the draft again? Minnesota. They
Chris
got
Dunn,
right?
Chris Dunn.
Man,
they got Chris Dunn.
He building the powerhouse out there, son. You know,
yeah, that's what I wanted, man. I wanted when he started Minnesota, I thought the deal was already done. I really did. When he fell in Minnesota at 5, I thought the deal was already done. They're just going to wait to announce it because there's no secret the Bulls wanted Chris Dunn.
Right. Damn.
All right.
Yeah, he's building the powerhouse out that bad boy.
Yeah, let's bring on the Sim and get his thoughts. The Sim, the People's Champ. What's up, sir? How you doing? What's your thoughts with free agency, a week later with the Knicks trade, and anything else you got? What's going on there?
Champ!
What's going on, fellas? I'm just waiting for 12:01 a.m. Friday morning to see what's what. That's it.
How do you think it's going to play out? How do you think it will play out? If you know, I mean, anything's possible, but how?
Honestly, I know I might be in the minority, but I'm not going to. I don't want them to go after Durant per se. Now, if he decided to come, would I take it? Yes, but I honestly feel that you need to spread some of that money around multiple places. And me personally, I think if you land Noah, say maybe Courtney Lee or Evan Turner and Jamal Crawford, you add that 3 to what's already there, and you bring back Galloway and Lance, and you know, they bring over the kid Hernan Gomez from Spain. You know, that's a good look. You could always find dudes like Amundsen and the rest of them guys to fill out the last spot of the roster. I think if you add those 3 pieces and you re-sign what you got, I think that's enough to maybe improve 10 to 12 wins. I mean, just the fact that we got a point guard, man, and it's that's what we've been missing for the longest. And oh man, I had it jotted down here, and this pretty much is gonna tell all of us how bad we was missing point guard play. Right? This is a stat from this past season. In 2,024 minutes played, Jose Calderon had 46 points in the paint. And in 2,097 minutes played, Derrick Rose had 453 points in the paint. So he had over 400 more points in the paint than Jose Calderon. Just let that sink in. That's for your point guard, the position that the league is pretty much made for now. All the rules as far as foul calls go to point guards and wing players, and we didn't have one that could get in the lane and do anything. So just by having him, that's going to improve. And then, you know, if you add a guy like Jamal Crawford, we all know Crawford is a cat. Even in his mid-30s, man, he still got a stick handle. He still could drop you a couple clutch buckets. You know, Noah will bring that toughness, that grit. And, Lee is a good dude, man. He can hit a three-pointer and he can be up. You know, he's like a glue guy. And I think really this is the year to do it, to put a couple more pieces in place, and then maybe next year you try to go after the big fish, depending on what happens with Rose this year. Because you still got his bird right, so you could go get another big piece, and then you can go over the cap to re-sign him. So it'll be a very interesting couple of days.
All right, as Sim has spoken, guys. Let's see, 929-477-4171. Let's bring on another caller, then we go back around. Let's bring on a caller from California. Caller from California, what's your name? Where you calling from?
How's it going, guys? Tom calling from Los Angeles. How you doing?
Hey, Tom, what's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just tuned in a few minutes ago, but I could probably pick up what you guys are talking about. How's everything going with you?
Not bad.
So, what was the question, Steve? Get the question.
No, I mean, just in general, just the softball. What's your thoughts as far as the upcoming free agency, the Knicks, all the rest of the teams in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think this free agency's been built up a little bigger than it should have been. I think Kevin Durant, for all intents and purposes, while he is a free agent, the extreme likelihood that he goes back to the Thunder on a one-year deal, although he could go to anyone on a one-year deal. But I think the fact that he goes back to the Thunder on a one-year deal leaves this a free agency class as something where you're going to see a lot of contracts that absolutely stun people with the quality of player and the amount of money that they're going to get. I think there's a few quality players out there. I don't know if they're game-changing. In fact, I think some of the contracts that get signed this offseason could end up being much more damaging in 2 years than helping a lot of teams. I think the last caller summed up the Knicks offseason very well. But I think at the same time, what you're seeing right now is like the dichotomy between what the Knicks probably should be doing and what they are going to do, right? So the fact that they brought in Rose, I love that trade. I don't necessarily know if it makes them that good because I think Rose is a shell of the player he once was. I think his shooting range is tough. I think he shoots way too often. I don't know if he's a great fit with Melo in the sense of the amount of shots they have to get up, especially with Porzingis out there. But I think that the tough part about the Knicks, so I'm a Lakers fan, but I have a bunch of friends that are Knicks fans. I think the tough thing about the Knicks is they finally have a true young player to build around, but unfortunately him and Melo, and I'm a Melo fan too, are just not on the same timeline. So they're going to go down the path where they're going to build for the current timeline, and I think that, Noah and Lee get them to be a decent team. I could see them being a 5th or 6th seed with that team. But I still am waiting for the Knicks to take a direction, right? Because right now, with Porzingis at the age of 20, but at the same time, Melo needing to win now, it's just creating a situation where the team doesn't always make sense. Whereas, realistically, what the Knicks should be doing probably is building for 2 to 3 years from now, but pretty consistently they're building for the current year. So I think it's going to be exciting to have a good Knicks team, which I think you guys will have in the next year. But I don't know if it necessarily helps you in 3 to 4 years, because if you don't trade Melo, he is eventually going to age into 33, 34. He's not going to be worth much. Rose is what he is. I mean, I like Rose, but you're also in a position that I don't envy in the sense that if he plays really well, now you have to give Rose probably a 4-year max contract, which with his injury history, I'd be scared to give him. If he doesn't play well, then you lose him. I don't think there was a risk to that. But what I'm looking for is, I want to see the Knicks in 2 to 3 years good. And to do that, I feel like they would have needed a couple top 7 or 8 picks, which they're not going to get because they're going to be too good to get that. But anyways, that's just my thought on the Knicks. But it's going to be good to have a decent team in New York. But I just worry that with what they continue to do is never going to actually build a championship team, right? You're building a bigger name version of the Atlanta Hawks. Is kind of what I think is going on. And so I'm waiting for when are the Knicks going to. Now, if Porzingis turns out to be amazing, then that's great. But at the same time, you don't want to hand Courtney Lee what's probably going to have to be, $14 million a year for 3 years. Joakim Noah probably $15 million a year for 2 years. No matter how big that the cap gets, by the time you're done paying Melo, Rose, Lee, you still want to be able to sign 2 max guys. And I worry signing all those guys for this current timeline are going to make it so that, you can't sign the bigger fish, even though I guess those guys are able to be moved. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Knicks? I guess I tuned in late, and I'm a Lakers fan anyway. So.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm actually going to defer that to Knickerbocker Ave and then go to Chris. And Ave, you want to answer Tom's question as far as what he said, and then anything else you would like to add, sir?
Well, he makes a great point, but again, we're talking about he's talking about 2 to 3 years, and the fact is that you did sign Carmelo Anthony to that 5-year, $122 million deal. So you can't just let that go to the wayside and just not not build around him for the time being. Right now he's the focal point. Porzingis is the project, or the progeny, or probably the heir apparent eventually if he ends up becoming what we all hoped he would be. In terms of who do we target in free agency? I mean, everyone has their opinion. Go for Durant, don't go for Durant. Go for this guy, don't go for that guy. I mean, there's plenty of guys out there in the free agent market. Not big names, not all game changers, but there are guys that can play their role. And right now, all we really need is to be somewhat formidable. Not necessarily a championship contender, but we have to be at least somewhat formidable, because at the end of the day, we're looking at also what the salary cap's going to be next year. Obviously, if most players like Kevin Durant right now are looking at signing a one-year deal and then maxing out next year, then more than likely there are a number of different teams that are also thinking the same method and idea. So, in retrospect, Phil Jackson has a tumultuous past of finding players like he did last year, because last year he lucked out with signing Robin Lopez to a deal that ended up being tradable, getting Aaron Aflalo on a 1-and-1, getting Derek Williams on a 1-and-1, getting Kyle O'Quinn on a really on a 4-year really cheap deal, and so on and so forth. So if he can kind of mimic that kind of free agency, but with a little bit more better talent, and then of course we still have no idea what offense we're running. I think we're running the pentagram offense nowadays, because at this point, with so much talk of the triangle, it seems like the work of the devil. Because I mean, I'm so freaking my mind is blown by how much we can mention the triangle in a matter of a season. But there are plenty of guys out there. There are plenty of guys out there. I know a lot of guys that we've mentioned are probably restricted free agents. I know guys like Jordan Clarkson, guys like Bradley Beal, and so forth. And then you got some other guys out there, like you never know if they go after DeMar DeRozan, if they go after Dwayne Wade, or do they go after Kent Bazemore or Evan Fournier or Jamal Crawford. There are guys that that can be had. So it all depends on what the market is going to dictate, because he made a very value point. Last year, I saw a number of contracts that I'm scratching my head since when do these guys are worth this much? But it's the market. It's the fact that the salary cap jumped up so high, and now contracts have to be dictated to fit that kind of a market. So we'll just see, what really does happen. But on the Kevin Durant,
real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
One of the guys that I would love to see you sign, and I think so many people have become scared of this guy because there's been this assumption he's going to get $20 million a year, but Ryan Anderson, I think, is becoming so overrated and overvalued that he's actually going to end up getting somewhere around a $12 to $14 million contract is what I actually think. And I think that guy, the one thing I'd love to see the Knicks do is Porzingis was born to play center in the modern NBA. If you had to draw up prototype center to play in the modern NBA, you draw him. The guy can shoot threes. He can protect the rim. He can rebound. He can play defense. He can move his feet. He can switch on players. I don't want to see the Knicks sign a center and force him to the power forward spot. I think a lineup with Brian Anderson, Porzingis, I think, could cover up a lot of his defensive defensive issues. I think if you can get him at that 12 to 14 range, which I think being the Knicks you have a chance to do, especially if you give him enough years. The guy's still only 28 years old. He's going to age really well. He can shoot the lights out. And with Derrick Rose on the court not really being able to shoot and not really stretch the floor, it's going to be super important for you guys to surround him with players that can shoot the lights out. I think Ryan Anderson would be an excellent signing, A, because it would force the front office and the coach to play Porzingis at center and not at power forward, and B, just because I think the more shooting you can get on the floor around Rose, the better. So I think at the right contract, he'd be a really interesting signing for you guys.
Av, any rebuttal, and then go to Chris. Av?
I like the idea, but but again, it's a matter of the money. The money's going to dictate, and also what Phil's going to like. And I know that Phil's been talking to Paul Gasol for God knows how long. And on the Kevin Durant front, I know everyone knows that he's been hanging out with Melo this whole freaking week. And of course, the meetings will take place next week in the Hamptons. I'm willing to bet any money. I'm willing to bet my paycheck right now. Phil Jackson is in Carmelo Anthony's basement talking to Kevin Durant. Just saying, because no one's seen him in the last week. So I'm just saying. But go ahead, Steve.
All right, let's go back to Chris, and then I'll get my thoughts, and we'll go back around. Chris,
no, I don't.
Anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, I don't want to. I like the flow of the conversation so far. But hey, you know what?
So you're still discussing with the trade, though.
No, I've evolved.
You got over it. Okay. Who not some sense into you? Okay.
You did actually, but let me tell you. I think I think you're right. I think they are courting Durant, his mother, his brother, and the whole Durant clan from Maryland right now, because it's making a lot of noise over here as to where they're going to be next. I think they're going to see Newsies or something like that on Broadway. So that's whining and dining. Yeah. So yeah, but you know what? You guys make a good point. I don't know if we're going to if we're going to run a rectangle or what this year. You know what? I don't know what kind of club we're going to have. You know, and that's what bothers me the most as a diehard Knicks fan that I am. I don't know whether we're going to have a running club with guys on the wings that with more than one three-point shooter. I don't know if we're going to have I don't know what we're going to sign to help anybody besides Porzingis rebound on this club next year. I don't know what we're going to do. So that's where I'm enjoying this flow, and I'm going to defer to you fellas. But Steve, I got to tell you, man, it's this. You know, as close as we are to this deadline, man, I'm feeling like Phil Jackson has one of those Riddler suits on, man. You know, I don't know what's going on. You know, I'll defer to you, bro.
Sim took everything I was going to say, or for the most part, because I see the same thing as far as building the Knicks roster. I would rather he worded it perfectly. I would take Durant if Durant wanted to come here, but I wouldn't press for Durant, knowing we need other needs to fill out the roster, like a Noah. I would rather have somebody like that, maybe not overpay him, and maybe I could get Victor's thoughts when we get to Victor as far as the impact of a Noah coming off the injury. But Knicks need somebody more in the interior, especially to replace Lopez. That's the obvious. I would rather have somebody who's going to do all the low, down on the block and do all that stuff and not really care about scoring. And that's not really his thing. He just wants to hustle, grind, and grit. As far as the two, see, Chris, we had that back and forth about that, about who should we have at the two. I mean, there's a lot of names out there we discussed. Bazemore, Lee. I even said as a last resort, Canarsie, Brooklyn, Stevenson. Now that's a very last resort. Yeah. Last resort, very last resort though. That's very last resort. I know, I get it.
27.
Don't forget those undrafted signings we got. Anybody forget the guys we did sign after the draft, like Fresno State's Marvell Harris, Duke's the Plumlee Jr. I mean,
we'll get to that. Av. Hold on. We got you. Yeah. As far as the other, I don't know if they're going to see significant time, but Marlo, let me go back to you. Let me ask you this. How would you, you heard the names the guys have mentioned around, and we'll go to Vic after that. But, Marlo, what about at the two? What would you like to feel? And then if you like to expand on the Tony Roten situation as well, because I know you was kind of big on him coming to the team at the end of last year. But, Marlo, let me get your thoughts, and then we'll go to Vic.
Well, with the shooting guard situation, I was deferring more to Asim because, I was asking him because I really wasn't sure where to go. But the story that came out today, I was very intrigued with Courtney Lee, because they said that Joe Kim Noah is recruiting him already. And, I mean, you got to love that, man. You got to love that,
That's
man,
correct.
regardless of his injury or whatever. And somebody said, which is perfect, they're like, if Kevin Serafin's still on the team and he's taking selfies after they lost, Joe Cano is going to slap that phone out of his hand. And, you know, somebody like that on your team's like, what you smiling for? We just lost. And you don't forget his classic Cleveland line. But, you know, I'm the same way with you guys.